Hey, what's up? I'm back with one more game to talk about real quick. Not real quick, but Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Dash Turbocharged. Yeah, I guess if we wanted to lead this off immediately, you know, advice I think somebody gave me. If you're looking for a game to get achievements for, yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down. This one, I'd say thumbs up. Thumbs up. Took only about 15 hours. I could have kept playing this one. So actually, I'd say thumbs up. You get it on sale. Don't pay full price for this one. Same as the other one. It's like, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks. I don't know. That's fine. So yeah, completed Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. You might remember that I did a video on the first game and how much fun I had with that. I'm sure that's going to be linked in the description or on the video somewhere for you to see that if you'd want to hear that one. Hot Wheel Unleashed 2 took me about 15 hours. Me and my friend were playing it. They really learned a lot with this game. There is a considerable improvement from the first game to this game. That said, this one feels a little bit more boring somehow. Like, I actually found myself missing the weird, quirky jankiness of tracks that you would encounter on the first game. They had oh, my phone's buzzing. That needs to shut up. I'm recording. Oh, I should cut that out. No, I'm gonna leave that in. Yeah. First game had a lot of, didn't really know how it wanted to make tracks, didn't know how the tracks should flow. And by the end of the DLC, it really started to streamline the way that like a track should feel when you run on the track. And this game from the beginning definitely knew what they wanted the tracks to feel like to drive. A different criticism might be that it's also really, really, really dependent on you already knowing some things from the previous game. Like, there were obstacles and traps from the first game that this just did not tell you about or explain. I mean, it's not like the first game explained it a lot either, but the spider trap is there, and it doesn't tell you what it is. I'm not sure if it ever did. If it did, I wasn't paying attention. But there's all of the stuff from the previous game, everything, including DLC items, all the track pieces are back, which means particularly my awful enemy, the anti-gravity circle orb thing, the anti-gravity trigger section, which I didn't run into too many tracks that actually had that, because I think it's been replaced with something that acts like the DK cannon, where it just kind of shoots you to the track where you land, and you can't really mess it up. But a couple of them did have that anti-gravity thing. Like, it's still there. It's actually still there. But the game is much more concise. I think that they learned their lesson. They actually took criticisms to heart about the first game. The blind box system for buying cars is no longer here. You can buy cars from a shop, and you can pay to refresh the shop. So you're not buying many duplicates of cars anymore. You can very much never buy a duplicate of a car on purpose, unless you get it through their Forza Horizon wheel spin thing. But that's for something else. I'll deal with that later. The campaign of this game is just short enough. If I had one honest complaint, it's that this tried to do a story for once, and I know the last one may have had a text-based story. It's been a minute, but this has cutscenes and voice acting, and the minute I saw it, it immediately bothered me, and I skipped every single cutscene. I did not watch even one cutscene all the way through, and it's not that it's bad, it's just I hate it. I think it's bad. If you think it's bad, then we agree, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't stand it. It's definitely a story much more focused on, hey, Hot Wheels are technically for kids. So, I mean, shut up, I guess. Just skip it. Because the game plays well. All the tracks run really good. The campaign, map feels maybe smaller than the previous campaign map. Other than that, it's more concise. There are a couple challenges spread around the map that you have to trigger and then do on purpose, which if you don't do right, you might have to replay some tracks, which I didn't love doing, but you didn't have to like 100%. Well, no, I think you did have to 100% this campaign, but you don't think you had to do the Unleashed goals. To be honest, I should have checked that. The Unleashed goals for all of the tracks are like an additional goal modifier that you may have had to do for 100%, but you can actually go above 100% later, which from an achievements perspective wasn't even a problem. I don't think there was a single track I didn't immediately get the Unleashed goal for. I didn't run into anywhere near the kind of trouble that the first game gave me, specifically because the first game had some like time trials that were just ridiculous. There was no call for it to be as hard as it was, and you had to like learn shortcuts by jumping over track pieces, doing weird things with the car maneuvering in the original game that this is in no way making you do. You could just walk through this. Plus, there were some newer game modes that were introduced that make things feel a little less repetitive, but the amount of times I keep doing certain tracks over and over and over really kind of did make it repetitive anyway. You know, they have a weird waypoint point-to-point system thing where they just kind of load up a big map and you drive between the points. They have a new drift challenge it's kind of like Forza Horizons. You drift a car and you earn points for drifting, and if you hit a wall, you kind of lose your multiplier. It's actually something different. I wouldn't call it nearly as difficult, since in the Forza Horizon is actually kind of tricky to drift compared to this. This is just how you drive the track. You wouldn't have a drift competition in Mario Kart, would you? That'd be weird. Yeah, campaign. It's just a bunch of tracks. You just run a bunch of tracks. It's pretty straightforward. You do whatever the goals are, the time trials, the waypoint system, the drift stuff, and you can just beat all the tracks. You just do all the tracks on the map. I think there are like special hard levels that appear when you 100% the game. You only have to do like one of those. We'll get to that, I think, later. But I really kind of caved because they had an Acceleracers DLC, and there are a surprising amount of Acceleracers cars in this, and I really wanted those because I'm a fan of Acceleracers and specifically Highway 35, and there was just frankly a surprising amount of Highway 35 cars, let alone it felt like all Acceleracers cars is what it felt like. I didn't bother to check it, but between the Teku and the Metal Maniacs cars, there were about every one of them that I could think of, let alone that there were probably 2 to 3 at least Silencers cars. Highway 35 had there was a Scorchers car. I'm not sure there was a Dune Rats car. There never are. But they had the Ballistic, they had Banshee's car. That's the one I used all the time. They even had Slingshot. I was happy to see that. Obviously, you get the Dior too, all over the place, but I was really surprised to see how many Highway 35 cars and just sheer Acceleracers cars there were. But it's not that big a surprise when you see that there's just an Acceleracers DLC that gives you the Acceldrome map. Now, there are other DLCs. The Acceleracers one, there's a Fast and Furious one, there's one for Italy. There's another one, I think, that I cannot remember, but you do need them for the achievements to complete the game. You technically do need to buy those DLCs. Maybe not on PlayStation 5. Last time I saw PS5, PlayStation 4, DLCs were listed separately from a platinum trophy, but I did this on Steam, so you do need them all on Steam. Unfortunate, but I got a nice, package deal with this, which is, it'll work. That'll do. Well, it'll do. But yeah, I mean, let's get into the achievements a little bit then. Yeah, like I said right out of the gate, short to do, much more straightforward than the last game, a lot easier to get these achievements. A good game to buy if you wanted to do achievements in about 15 hours and you just wanted to drive a rather competent racing game and you like Hot Wheels, are fun. I like this game probably more than the first game in many ways. Not a lot of like special, early level achievements. You get typical ones, complete the tutorial, a lot of stuff you don't need to deal with. There's at least one for doing an unleashed mission, doing an unleashed goal, It gets a little more weird further up you go. Like, you got different ones for doing bosses in career mode, which you don't need to think about those. That's just something you're gonna do by trying to complete the career mode, which they did have a name for that, but on the achievement list here, it doesn't say that. I think it was like creature something. I'll think about it when it's too late. But the like DLC achievements you can run into really are just like complete like 3 races in the DLC. Like they're really not complicated. I really wish I had this filtered by achievement like specifics. These definitely this says win 1 quick race, win 3 events, and probably buy a bunch of the cars. I gotta check that, because I'm just making this up as I go. I don't see one for buying cars specifically from those modes, but you go a little bit higher up in the list. We're talking, complete races of certain types. Here's one for waypoint mode, 5 of that. A lot of stuff you're just doing. It's not important. There are different types of cars, reach the podium with different models of cars, which if you were trying to do the full DLC again, it's gonna do it. It's probably gonna force you to play with the different cars, like rocket, off-road, balanced, whatever. You're just gonna do that. The ones you start to need to like pay attention to dip under, let's say stuff that's under like 10% completion. Some of that's just DLC stuff because people didn't buy it. You can ignore a lot of that. Let me see. Here's one to upgrade an Accelerator's DLC vehicle to Ultimate. Okay, there they are. They are for all 3. That's what the other one is. Just fully upgrade a car from each DLC. Make sure they're from the DLC though. There are a bunch that look like they are, that like Accelerator's cars specifically, they had free packs and they're not from the DLC. You need to make sure that when you go to the little car menu, it says it's from the DLC or it won't count. But finish the campaign, you're not going to be hurting for the ability to upgrade cars. It's not going to be an issue. At least it wasn't an issue for me, I should say, and I wasn't even really trying to do that. Let me see, a lot of these, scrolling through it, not a big deal. One that starts to get tricky is to obtain a secret vehicle. The game will not tell you how to do this. There are missions, like little profile challenges in a different menu under your profile that it'll probably spam you with notifications for, and that's where you get those. You have to complete challenges within there, and they are marked as having a car reward, and as far as I know, all of those are classified secret vehicles. That might include the classic like duck car, for example. They're in there. Now, a couple of those challenges for those secret vehicles might be tricky, but I'm pretty sure you get one for 100% completing the campaign level. So that's at least one. And you only need one, I believe. Yeah, you just need the one secret vehicle. Getting one secret vehicle is not a problem. If you were to try to get all the secret vehicles, you might have kind of a work cut out for you here, because some of the challenges for that, I remember being like, ooh, that's kind of tough. But you just need one. It's not hard to get one. You're already on your way to doing it. I think one of the more surprisingly difficult ones is to beat the hard AI. You only need to win one quick race, and it has to be set to hard. The mistake that I made is that I set it above hard. I don't know the name of that. I forgot. I think it's called super hard or expert. They're very, very, very hard on that level. Like, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if they're just cheating or I'm worse than I thought. But it took a good minute to beat, like, just to win a race on that extra difficulty, and it did not count for this achievement. So it has to specifically be set to the second hardest difficulty, which is labeled correctly hard. You don't need that at any other point. Now, honestly, would recommend just don't bother to set it above the easiest possible setting, because it doesn't matter. Okay, it didn't matter. No other achievement in the entire game required you to set it to anything above the lowest difficulty, which is good, but you're gonna need a little bit of practice maybe to beat the hard AI. I'm not kidding, they care a little bit more than you might assume that they do. And to be honest, I feel like they're cheating somehow. Like they have extra boosts or something. A couple rare ones: validate a track in build mode. You do not have to post the track to validate it, but typical game stuff, and this only has a 7% completion, and it takes barely 5 to 10 minutes to do that. You just load up the track builder, do it at once, validate it, and you're done. Like, it wasn't that hard. Complete a quick race in multiplayer, not a problem. Complete 10 races in any mode, any online mode, sorry, not a problem. Again, I had a friend help me. We both were playing this game at the same time, seeing who could do it first. We just did 10 races together in a private match, and that absolutely counted. And it's complete 10 races, not win 10 races. You just gotta do 10. It's not an issue at all. You got this, it's fine. It starts to get a little more tricky. You need to have half of the original collection of vehicles. That is where the shop is gonna be your friend. You're gonna have to suck it up and buy all those common cars probably that you didn't want to buy, but they are cheaper. You're gonna be in there looking for the last achievement I'll get to, but it's half of the vehicles, and it is not DLC vehicles. So I bought a lot of Accelerators cars, and I had more than half of the original roster cars, I thought, but it was because I had a bunch of extras that came from other places. So keep in mind that is not DLC vehicles. But again, doing the campaign, doing anything, you could just do regular quick races, and as long as you're finishing them, you're earning enough money to do this. Like, you just got to play a little bit, and it gives you enough to buy a bunch of cars pretty easily. Easy enough, just time, and not a lot of time either. Last three, the three rarest, sorry, I guess that's not filtered by rarity. I just realized it's filtered by, it's filtered by the last three that I got. So whatever I said earlier, if I cared about editing it, I'd fix that. But if I said any different, I was wrong. I'm right now. So reach the podium 100 times, not unlockable in split screen. Podium. I would be very clear that says podium. That means that the drift challenge in campaign is not counting. The waypoint thing in campaign is not counting. I think the elimination mode counts, but you'll get real close to 100 by just working on everything else. I have to say it's only 100 races, but don't do like 1,000 time trials. That isn't gonna count as a podium, okay? If you get to this point, you can be a little more specific with what you're doing and just do quick races. I wouldn't do elimination. I can't remember right here. You should check that. But 100, something like 7% of players did that. That's still quite a lot. This game isn't hard. Again, 100 races will happen. You just can't cheese it with split screen. You can't cheese it with time trial. So I'm just warning you. The last two that took me the most time to get was Drifting Teacher, which was drift for 500,000 centimeters. Took a while because you're just not gonna drift that far, even in probably 100 podium races deliberately. But you can cheese this specific one by going into like a waypoint custom match, like a waypoint quick race, and getting all the way through the waypoints until you have just one left. And when you're in a quick race, it's really trying to time trial you into, set a record for how fast you can do it. So it's not going to limit how long you can be in the match. So we got down to the last waypoint, and then we would just drift in a circle. And I would just sit there probably, by the time I went to do it on purpose, it took me like 20 minutes, I think, of actually drifting in a circle. I wasn't watching the game, but you can absolutely go into some kind of waypoint, time trial, custom track where there's just no track on the mode, and you can just drift around on flat ground and stop watching it. And you will get this, but it is a surprisingly long amount of drifting. And you'd think you'd get it by playing the game normally, but you're probably not gonna. You're probably gonna break down, have to do something like that. It's just a lot. You're not gonna drift that way. And the last one is Eagle Eye, which is to get all the Super Treasure Hunt vehicles. There are specialty treasure hunt rarity vehicles in the shop and in the spinny thing. I forgot the word for that. It's not a roulette. I'm gonna scroll down. I actually need that word. I'm gonna sound like a dummy. Hot Wheels spin. They just call it Hot Wheels spin. So the Hot Wheels spin will have a Super Treasure Hunt vehicle that you do not own until you have all of them. But as long as you don't have them all, I believe the spin will always have a car you don't own, which became kind of the strategy. You can go into the shop, and the shop's like refresh money-wise is really low compared to the price of these cars. The Super Treasure Hunt, I think, was like 6,000. They're definitely twice the price or around that of the cars you would be scrolling past. And my friend said that when you open the shop or you refresh the shop, if there's a Super Treasure Hunt in there, it will be immediately the first car it puts you on. So you'll know right away whether you've got one or you don't. As far as I know off testing that, he was right. I didn't ever scroll into one, so I kept hitting refresh. You get a lot of money. Like you could end up with 30,000 gears or price or money, whatever they call it, pretty easily. It only cost around 300 to refresh the shop, and I could refresh the shop 10 times for 3,000 or so. So I would sit at the shop and refresh and refresh and refresh and refresh until I run out of money. And then we would start to look for wheel spins on purpose, because the wheel spin will eventually give you the car you don't have. You can do the shop, but the wheel spin with the shop is a really good way to get it. And we were getting extra wheel spins by using like the little challenge menu in your profile. And that's some of those challenges, which I don't have in front of me because I'm only looking at Steam, have, let's say, 10 wheel spin rewards. And you can't really go wrong by using the spins anyway, but the more spins you get, the better for you. The more Super Treasure Hunts you're gonna get, and that's probably the harder one to get overall, because you need a lot of money. You're gonna have to sit there and just refresh the shop and spin the wheel. Refresh the shop, spin the wheel. When you run out of all of those credits, you're just gonna have to go into another match, just do some random games. If you didn't do all the DLC levels, like I know I didn't, you could just walk through those and get money that way, just for completionist sake. But I don't think I finished the Italian one. I sure didn't do the Fast and Furious one. I did finish the Acceleracers one, but I didn't do nearly that much. As far like the previous game would have probably made me do more than this. And after like 15 or so hours, you know, you get all of them. I'll be honest, for a game like this, 15 hours is not really a lot. Like Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 took probably 30 to 40, and I did not want to keep playing it at 30 hours. Like 15 was right on the money of kind of when I was done. I was like, man, I'd go a little bit further. I might play this a little bit more. It's fun. 15 hours is, what is it? 15 episodes. It's like a season of some shows. What was the Fallout series? It was like 8 hours. You play a game like this, it'll be done before you know it. I couldn't recommend 2 any better than this. It plays well. It drives really good. I liked it. It's got a bunch of throwback cars that I'm a big fan of. I like Hot Wheels. I did the first game. If you're trying to pick between this and the first game, do this one. Don't do the first game. Do this one. Okay? This is the one you want to do. You can get in and out of this one, and it's more credible than playing like a cat game that takes 1 second to max out, okay? Just do this one. All right. I don't know why I said that, like I cut any different, or like I wasn't recording this in one complete go, but this timer says I've talked for like almost 27 minutes. This might be a longer video than I think. I'm still doing some games. I had a guy leave some good advice, I think, on one of the other videos. You guys got any ideas? You can leave me a comment. I like that. I'm still on the fence about what I want to name these videos, because I don't really want to do I'm just talking. I refuse to make a plan, really. I have like kind of a structure. I'm getting to develop a structure here of like the order I want these videos to be in, what I want to talk in order, you know, but I don't want to like, I'm not writing a script. I want this to be more podcasty. I just want to talk off the top of my head about a game that I finished so that I can finish games and make stuff and talk about things, right? But yeah, we'll see. I don't know what I would name these videos or rename these videos. Right now, they're like achievement review. It's not really that. It's kind of that. It's not really that. We'll see if I can brainstorm anything. Otherwise, I'm lazy. It's not a big deal. If you guys got any games you want me to play, or you got any, comments or other things, or your favorite flavor of Mountain Dew Baja Blast or something, I don't care. Just say hello, I guess. We out here, boys. We are here. This might be the only one I have finished, unless I have an upcoming, gag video about like a game that took like 4 seconds to do, which I try not to do a lot because it feels cheap, but that I have like a couple of them that I could just do because it would be barely a 2-minute video. It would just be stupid, but it'd be funny to me. Yeah, you guys got any stuff you want me to check out? Let me know. I mean, the Steam Summer Sale's still going on right now. The time of this recording anyway. Send them to me, boys. Let me know. I'm keeping an eye out on that duck game. I know somebody tell me about the duck game. But to be honest, I've talked for way too long this time. I am gonna let you go, and I'm gonna see you next time. Later.